Hello friends. So today I'm going to talk about segregating waste that we generate in homes. Essentially, what are the steps we can take to ensure that we send out the least possible garbage from our homes to the landfills. Okay. So you probably would be hearing every day and night in all types of media about the requirement to segregate waste, and also why waste segregation and waste management is becoming such a big issue in India, especially Indian cities. It's a global problem, not limited to India, but our country being such densely populated, it has become a humongous issue for us to be able to manage. So if you look at any forest, there is nobody sweeping, there's nobody collecting garbage, there's nobody taking care of dead bodies there. Nothing is done. It's a self-sustainable model. Nobody has to do anything there. But cities and even villages and small towns are not sustainable anymore because there are too many people, too many homes, too much of stuff being used every day, and too much of garbage being generated. So all this garbage essentially most of the times ends up in a landfill. So people who live in outskirts of the city probably understand this better. The stench that they get from landfills or dump yards. So that's something that is a growing problem every day, and the only solution to it is ensuring that the least amount of garbage is actually sent to the landfills. We have to take care of our waste ourselves. Okay, so let's talk about what we can do to begin with in this process and how we can continue and improve upon it going forward. Okay, so this video is essentially for those who want to start off segregating their waste, who have not been doing it for some time and have been thinking about it, uh, and also for people who have been segregating waste but they haven't been able to reduce the amount of garbage going out of their homes. Okay, so the first level of segregation that you have to start doing is not have a single dustbin for the entire home. Start with two dustbins, separate it into wet and dry waste. So this is something that all our municipalities and Swachh Bharat has been telling us to do. So wet waste is something that comes out of your kitchen. The food, cooking waste, everything goes there. And it also typically includes uh, papers, tissue papers that you use in kitchen, etc., kitchen towels and all. The dry waste is anything which doesn't go into wet waste getting generated into your home, from your home. Basically, it will also include sanitary because you are having only two level dustbins here, two dustbins. Sanitary waste, plastic, medicine, bottles, paper, anything that you can think of, packaging, all that goes into the dry waste. So this is the first level that you have to start with, because if you are a large family and you want everybody to get adjusted, this is the first thing to do. Get everybody used to this system and then try to move on to the next level. Because if you try to start segregating everything at once, you may not be able to achieve it and you will lose focus or interest in doing it. So start small, start with this level first, and then after few days, after a week or two, you can go into the next level. Okay, so now we are talking about a second level of waste segregation, wherein you start making your dry waste a little more manageable or little more separated. So dry waste typically will include all these. Your e-waste. E-waste is things like batteries, any old appliances, any old gadgets, all that will form under e-waste. Plastic is self-explanatory. All your packaging, all plastic bottles that we get, shampoo bottles, oil bottles, ghee bottles, anything that you think of that comes packaged in a plastic bottle or a plastic bag or a plastic cover, all that forms under plastic. The next thing, metal. So we usually don't have a lot of tins used in India. So metal is something which you will not have a lot generated on a daily basis. But anything like old rusted cutlery or anything that is come out of your technology, gadgets or your computers or anything which is basically part of metal, any electric stuff that comes out, all that also falls under metal. um, Next is glass. So glass again is something self-explanatory. Glass bottles, anything that you use in kitchen that is made of glass, glass jars, alcohol bottles, anything that is made of glass. The one thing that you have to make sure of while segregating or keeping glass for recycling, or even while you are throwing in trash or in dustbin, is that it is safely and securely kept, and hopefully it is something visible outside, that it is having some glass material. Either you pack it up nicely or you make sure it is visible as glass. Okay. And the next one is paper. So paper will include newspapers, typically old notebooks, old books that no longer anybody needs, tetra packs, juice or milk tetra packs. If you are trying to give it for recycling, you have to make sure that all these tetra packs are cleaned, rinsed with water couple of times and kept to dry. The same goes with any plastic bottle or even tin cans. You have to make sure that they're cleaned and dried, so that, because you don't give recyclables out of your home every day. It's something which will happen only at a regular basis, either every week, every month, or every couple of months, based on how much waste you generate. So make sure that any bottles, any packaging that you get, especially things which contain food, have to be cleaned and then kept for recycling. Okay, so in the second level, apart from separating stuff for recycling, as you remember, in the first level we just said wet and dry. We didn't have any category of sanitary waste. So in the second level, what we are going to do is we are going to get sanitary waste out. So it is not in wet waste or in dry waste. It is something that is categorized separately. So sanitary waste is again something which everybody understands most of the time. So anything that has to do with human contact, right? So diapers, sanitary pads, condoms, needles, people who do blood tests on a daily basis, all that, razor blades which potentially could have blood got in touch with them. And none of these should be going into recyclables, definitely. Even if they are plastic or paper, doesn't matter what material they were made of. These are some things which never should be put into recycling. And again, things like expired medicines, and also now in the COVID situation, I think a lot of people are using masks and gloves whenever they step out. All of these are again something which will be considered as sanitary waste, because it is something that shouldn't be touched by another human, as it can spread a lot of diseases to people who are handling this type of waste. So this is something that has to be uh, thrown out of the home, definitely, and it has to be thrown out in a proper manner. Okay, so how do we discard the sanitary waste out of our home? So one easy method is to wrap it nicely in a thick layered newspaper, or if you have just a lot of plastic bags lying around, you can pick one which is a little thick, not the very thin ones which will just tear off when you touch it, not that type of bag. And if possible, I think a lot of municipalities have been putting stress on marking sanitary waste by putting red bindi or a red mark with a pen. If possible, please do that. Or you can also, if you don't want to go into the hazard of marking it using a newspaper and all, and if you can afford, there are a lot of bags available in the market for discarding sanitary waste. You can just look for disposable bags, disposing bags, sanitary disposing bags, or diaper disposing bags. You will get a lot of variety. There are a lot of NGOs also that make them, so you can always go for such type of bags, which could be newspaper based or plastic based. Anything which is suitable, you can just go and pick it up. If you want it to be an easy process. And sharp items like needles or blades have to be ensured that they are nicely covered and wrapped, so that in case anybody is touching any of these by hand, nobody is able to actually get in contact with the part having the sharp edges or the needle parts. Okay. So when it comes to the second level of waste segregation, we talked about recyclables, we talked about sanitary waste. There is also something called composite waste, which is typically dry waste, but which is not recyclable, which is not sanitary, but still is something that will end up in dump yards usually. So even if you are giving such composite waste to a recycler after cleaning it and all, most probably it will go and sit in a landfill, because these are some things that cannot be recycled. So typically a good example of anything which is having a paper lined with plastic on top of it. The things that you see as a seal on in any bottles, usually which is like a paper or a foil with a plastic lining on top. So I have actually tried to put it on in compost and see what happens. Nothing happens. The paper also doesn't get composted, or nothing happens to the paper because of the plastic lining on top. So, and you cannot pull out the plastic separated from paper because they are glued together, or they are basically one component. So any such composite waste is something which again goes into the landfills. So we'll not talk about going zero waste and all for now, but these are the things which better to avoid. If you know they are composite and cannot be recycled, put them in your dry waste instead of putting in the recycling waste. Okay. Again, stickers on packaging. So stickers will have a lot of glue on them. They will also have plastic lining, so they don't get decomposed like paper, nor they get recycled like plastic. Okay. Um, and the next one, which are very bad, are the disposable plates with plastic lining. So the most cheapest variety I think you will get if you go for looking for a disposable plate. You'll have some type of a paper or cardboard below, and there is a thick layer of plastic on top of it, just to make it waterproof. So these are the ones which cannot be recycled, and nothing can be done to these. So these again go into the landfill directly. Okay, so any of such composite waste, we should try to avoid it, to keep it bare minimum. And if you end up in generating any such waste, make sure it doesn't go into recycling, and it has to be put into dry waste, which will go to the municipality. Okay, so we talked about two levels of segregation, and how do we start segregating. So essentially get enough dustbins. If you think we need two or three, definitely three if you are in level 2, for wet and dry and sanitary, and a separate type of bag or something for storing your recyclables. So if you have a large family, or you have maids who need practice on adapting this new method of keeping your waste, so give it some time. Let people understand and practice it over a period of time. Give it couple of weeks or so. And once you are confident that it is working out, that you are not required to go and put your hand into trash can and pull out the plastics and put them separately. If you think you are not required to do that anymore, then you can move on to the level 3. Okay, so few more things about recycling. So there is something that people are little scared to do. They think, oh, where do I end up storing all these for a month, and how do I manage? I just have a small place, small apartment. So first thing to do is ensure that all your bottles and covers, everything is dried, rinsed and dried. If you got any food in it, and the second thing is, if they are like covers or anything, or even bottles for that matter, try to crush them and keep them in a bag type of thing instead of a box, so that they occupy lesser space. And any small items, like you might have things cut out of plastic covers, chocolate wrappers, medicine wrappers, small pieces that you have of plastic, which you generate in your garbage, throw them into the PET bottle, just push them inside, and you will see that a 1 liter bottle can hold the tiny pieces that you generate, probably of for like 6 months or so, because there's a lot of volume inside. And you can easily store any single use plastic cover that you might have got uh, for any reason. Anything like that you can easily throw and push inside a PET bottle and store it. And the first time you may not know how long it will take, or how much time it's going to take for you to actually give it for recycling. So based on the amount of uh, garbage that you create in your home, um, assess it over a period of time and figure it out. So all recyclers take stuff from us by weight. So if you are trying to do something alone, it may or may not be viable that for just for 1 kg waste somebody is coming to pick up from you. So it is best if you can get your community to get involved, or at least few houses together. So if you live in a colony type of place, uh, get some 10 houses to work with you. Start storing recyclables for probably 1 or 2 months. Then you can arrange for a pickup. There are a lot of companies who do it. I think the next slide will talk about that. Okay, so once you have stored the recyclables and you don't know what to do with them, okay, you have enough that you think you can get rid of. So the easiest way is to give it to a person who purchases like old newspapers, old dabbas and all, right? Uh, but some of them may not be willing to take all types of plastic waste. So they may be taking only good cardboards and PET bottles. So there are a lot of waste management companies, like Bintix is one of them. There are many small startups that have started doing it. Just look for it on internet, what is operational in your city, in your area, or ask around. I'm sure there will be some way of getting your recyclables to a proper destination. Okay, and as I was saying, community wide, if you try to do it, it is the best method of doing it, rather than one person doing. Of course, you can at least start with your own home and try to get more people involved, and make it something easily manageable for you as well as for the waste management company. Okay, so the third level of segregation or waste management, I would call it now, is essentially that you don't throw away any of your wet waste. You start composting at home. All the wet waste that comes out of your kitchen, giving all the recyclables to a vendor, and you actually have minimal waste going into actual garbage, which is essentially just sanitary waste. Okay, or anything that doesn't get into your wet waste, or is not recyclable, like the composite waste I was talking about. So this third level is basically where you will consciously try to actually reduce even your recyclables that you are generating and all types of waste in general that is coming out of your home. So this is something that we'll probably talk about at a later point. So here I'm talking about few myths that usually people have. The first one being that nobody recycles in India, especially people who visit abroad and come back. A lot of them may not be aware, but there are a lot of waste management companies now in India who are seriously taking this up and getting things recycled. Uh, the second one is that all the garbage, anything that we throw out actually gets decomposed and goes into the soil, which is really not true nowadays because of the landfills and dump yards that are being used, where all types of waste, biodegradable and non-biodegradable, gets combined and dumped. And there is like a whole episode of things that happen due to it, which can be explained. But essentially, the garbage is not getting decomposed. So that's why segregation is all the more important in today's world. Uh, the next one is everything plastic can be recycled. So this is again not something entirely true. There are many variants in the type of chemicals used in creating plastic components and plastic packaging even. So some of them can be recycled completely, some cannot be recycled, and even the things that we give for recycling, only a percentage of it actually gets recycled. A lot of it, a part of it can also go into landfills or go for burning and all. So make sure that you are aware, at some point understand that there are plastic things that can get recycled, there are things that cannot be recycled. So the one thing that definitely doesn't get recycled is anything less than 50 micron. The very very thin plastic covers that you see given by street vendors. So please avoid those. They definitely do not get recycled. Uh, the next one is about thermocol or styrofoam, the white packaging material that you see in all appliances. Uh, that is again something cannot be recycled and is not biodegradable. So a lot of companies are switching to better products for packaging. But if you do end up getting it into your home because you purchase something, either give it back to the store who has supplied it to you if possible, or make sure you give it to a proper municipality authoritative person who can actually dispose it properly, and don't ever throw it on the roadsides. The next one is that things like diapers and sanitary pads are biodegradable. This is also again something not true at all. Uh, there are studies which show that these can take even hundreds, about 200 to 600 years to biodegrade in proper conditions. So even if you are picking a product which says biodegradable, uh, unless it is actually put into a proper condition, it may not biodegrade, and it could be the same as the ones which contain plastic components. Okay. So about bulk waste, so typically we all end up whenever we are moving or we are changing or our families are growing, we do end up having things which we do not need anymore or things which are not in a working condition. So stuff like old furniture, old mattress, clothes, shoes, any of this, the first thing that you can do is try to get it fixed and either donate or give it off to somebody at a nominal price. If there are a lot of people who are actually buying used items now, because of the online portals and even other reasons, because everything is becoming so expensive. People are willing to buy used items now, even in India. So try to do that. If these are something which cannot be used, not usable at all, not cannot be repaired, so a lot of cities, municipalities have come up with drop-off centers where you can go and dump such stuff. Some of them also have collection trucks. So some municipalities have it. Some communities are also having initiatives like this. So try to do some research in your city, in your area, where you can actually dispose this safely. Um, so these are things which should never be thrown on roadside. Typically, this is what you will see in suburbs or any empty plot that everybody just comes and dumps it. So it should be avoided as much as possible. So try to create this awareness within your community as well, and make sure it is getting disposed correctly. Um, if these are something which can be reused, can be fixed in some situation, there are a lot of people who are doing a process called upcycling, where they take old clothes and make new products out of it, especially in clothes and even shoes for that matter. So just go online and look for people who are doing upcycling or making stuff out of old items. So you will definitely find somebody who's in your city or in your location who can help you to achieve it.